So everyone on the internet seems to have watched the new Captain America Civil War trailer. It was great! That's Spidey though! That's Spidey! The Marvel Cinematic Universe has proven itself to be capable of creating either a good movie or a great movie. Which led me to think of the DC Cinematic Universe and how they're kinda rushing into things. It's like the unproven bastard child who desperately wants to be the cool kid. To be the cool kid, you have to have done cool things consistently. You can't just go here, drop Man of Steel and say, "I'm cool guys, look at me!" But at the end of the day, money talks. And guess what? Man of Steel made money. Is what they're doing the right approach? No! The timeline they have plotted for the DC Cinematic Universe is Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League Part 1. I think they are copying what Marvel did with its Phase 1. They started with Iron Man, they went to Hulk, Iron Man 2, 4, Captain America, then the Avengers. So what DC wants to do in the span of 4 movies is to make a team movie similar to the Avengers. It could actually work. If you want a good Justice League movie, you only need the big 3. Then you can introduce a side character or 2 in the actual movie as supporting characters. The problem that I see is that in the span of 1 movie, they're gonna try to fit in so many iconic characters. Not only that, in the only movie in this cinematic universe, they failed to stay true to the character. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is called that way for a reason. They built up the mythology over the course of 5 movies. You can give another character a cameo, sure, or even cast him as a supporting character to expand the backstory of the universe. Iron Man 1 name-dropped S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers, so it makes sense for S.H.I.E.L.D. to have a bigger presence in the second movie, as well as have Black Widow be a supporting character since she's a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. Tony Stark also appears at the end of The Incredible Hulk, hinting that he's more familiar with the universe at large. Coulson also name-drops New Mexico, which is where Thor's hammer fell, setting up that movie. Thor would then give us Loki and Hawkeye. Iron Man 2 also teases the S.H.I.E.L.D. prototype, hinting at the next movie, Captain America. Captain America then sets up the Infinity Gem, which would be the basis for the Avengers. That's the brilliant thing about these movies. They took their time and built up the universe for 5 movies and at the same time led it up to a nice climax. I'm not saying DC can't do this. It's just that when you compare DC's approach to Marvel's, DC comes off as a bit rushed. Batman vs Superman has too many characters. You got Batman, you got Superman, you got Lois Lane, you got Alfred, you got Lex Luthor, you got Wonder Woman. Then you have Doomsday in there. Doomsday?
You fucked it up! You cannot do Doomsday right now! You fucked it up! The problem is now you can't do Doomsday again in the future. Why? Why don't you give a shit about Superman? Why don't you understand Superman's lore, his villains?
If you need a villain for Batman vs Superman, Lex is all the villain you need. Lex is a human being who's really smart. That's how he keeps up with Superman. He keeps him on his toes because he's always up to something evil. Why not just make the conflict about Lex pulling their strings? Lex manages to trick Batman into believing that Superman is actually a bad guy. Then they figure out, holy shit, Lex Luthor has been doing something evil all along and has been tricking us. Then they fight together. They don't do that here. Instead, this is just me guessing. He would revive Zod or use his body or his DNA to create a monster. Doomsday. Then, Batman and Superman would team up with Wonder Woman and fight that thing. And then they'd be buddies at the end or something. If that is the route they're going for, they have managed to waste 2 perfectly good villains in 1 movie. They could have made Lex an interesting, complicated villain. Doomsday is such an apocalyptic threat that it could be the first villain in the first Justice League. Here, you have 2 villains competing for screen time in 1 movie. If they do this, it will be difficult to characterize Lex as nothing more than a psychopath, and Doomsday will just be the plot device that makes people be friends again at the end. Not only that, you have these characters set to appear in the same movie with the two villains that could easily have had their own film. At least two of these three can carry one film. Why are DC in such a rush to have these characters appear all at once?
It's so sad to see, right? They're trying to keep up with Marvel, and so they feel the need to just... Who gives a shit about the characters, their lore, their historical villains, the emotions that can be brought with a Death of Superman storyline? No, we have to compete with Marvel.
DC has only made one movie in the new verse, and that's Man of Steel. So that's the only movie we could judge. Was it a proper portrayal of Superman?
He saved us.
First off, who is Superman? He's a Boy Scout wearing blue and yellow spandex who just happens to be a super-powered alien.
Here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
In Man of Steel, we just have a Superman that punches things until they die. A super-powered bum wandering around who's unsure of himself. He just saved those people because he happened to be there. When I tell my friends that Superman wasn't heroic in Man of Steel, they point me to the scene where he talks to his mom after saving Smallville. Listen to what Superman says.
It's only stuff, Clark. It can always be replaced.
But you can't be.
You! Things can be replaced, not you, Mom. Fuck everyone else. Lock the doors, people. I'm just gonna bust through the wall anyway cause I'm motherfucking Superman. They never made a scene for him to show any concern for human life, except near the end of the film, which shows how they totally misunderstood and mishandled the character. Zod threatens to kill 3 people under the subway, and Superman has to kill him to stop it.
Never.
But there's no setup that he gives a shit. When Zod and Superman were fighting, there was no way for Zod to have seen that Superman cared about people. Superman didn't care when he fought Zod in Smallville. He risked the lives of all those civilians just so he could beat the shit out of Zod.
Get inside. It's not safe.
When Metropolis was being destroyed, you certainly didn't go, oh shit, maybe this wasn't the best place to fight. This scene comes out of nowhere. It would have been so simple to do this. Just show a scene about Superman being remorseful. A dark, gritty, grounded, realistic Superman does not work when the premise is based on a good-natured God who just wants to help people. Then you match him against Batman in the next film. In the Superman-Batman comic book series, the dynamic between these two is that they're opposite sides of the spectrum. Batman is pessimistic and realistic, while Superman is optimistic and a bit naive. The DC Cinematic Universe has now made these characters the same. A broody demigod against a broody billionaire. And you have them fight. Because that's what works, right? The spectacle of the fight and not any sort of tension or contrast between interesting characters, right? In Marvel, they changed their backstories, but the essential elements of the characters were preserved. Iron Man, arrogant, alcoholic, sex maniac with a heart of gold.
You know that I would help you with anything, but I cannot help you if you're going to start all of this again.
There is nothing except this. There's no art opening. There is no benefit. There is nothing to sign. There's the next mission.
Thor, fight-happy god who wants to make daddy proud and has a complicated relationship with his stepbro.
Who controls the would-be king?
I am a king!
Not here! You give up the Tesseract! You give up this poisonous dream! You come home.
Captain America, weakling who wants to help America and become strong and hot via serum.
Do you want to kill Nazis?
Is this a test?
Yes.
I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
Marvel has managed to distill the essence of these icons and translate them well through the silver screen. This is what makes The Winter Soldier such a great movie. While Cap has done stealth ops in his day, he's new to the whole cloak and dagger world of S.H.I.E.L.D., yet he's still Captain America. The tension lies in maintaining that integrity to his character while adapting to a new situation.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is not what we thought it was. It's been taken over by Hydra. If you launch those helicarriers today, Hydra will be able to kill anyone that stands in their way, unless we stop them. And I know I'm asking a lot. But the price of freedom is high. It always has been. And it's a price I'm willing to pay. And if I'm the only one, then so be it. But I'm willing to bet I'm not.
That's how you make a character interesting and compelling. Not make him dark for the sake of making a buck. Tension between characters also makes the audience want to see them interact. Conflict arising from that tension makes it interesting. The sexual tension between Captain America and Iron Man is so great that they made a movie out of it. If you go dark on dark on dark, you get nothing. I'm not saying that this movie will fail. I'm saying that with what they've shown to us so far, things don't look good, but I will still pay money to see this film. Henry Cavill can act. In that scene with Zod, he really acted well. The setup for the scene was shit, but he acted it well. I like Ben Affleck and I want to support his movies. I guess we'll just have to wait until Batman vs Superman finally comes out in theaters to see whether or not it will suck.